Hello and welcome back. So today we're going to talk about your documentary project. This will be your last project of the semester. And what you're going to do here is explore a food tradition and create a mini documentary about your exploration. So, in this assignment, you're going to create a short documentary film that delves into a specific food tradition or culinary practice. Your documentary should be engaging and informative, incorporate interviews, cooking demonstrations, or even historical context to highlight the cultural significance of the food tradition or practice. Your documentary should be between 4 to 8 minutes long. So, when you set down to create this project, I want you to think about which of the following elements make the most sense for your documentary. These are suggestions, not requirements, and this list is not exhaustive. So, the first thing you can choose to include in your documentary is an introduction. Think about what you can do to engage your viewer, to really capture their attention. And then give us an introduction to the food tradition or culinary practice that you're going to be exploring. Provide a brief overview of its significance or where this tradition comes from. And then think about the historical context. Here's where you're really going to get into where did this appear for the first time in the world, or why is this culinary practice significant? How is it significant to a particular culture, or how has it evolved over time? You also might include some interviews. Think about the individuals who might have knowledge or experience with this food tradition or this culinary practice. This could include family members or chefs or cultural experts or community members, right? A lot of times when we think about great food, sometimes we think about Michelin star chefs, but sometimes we think about grandma in the kitchen. So think about who really has ownership of this food or this practice or this tradition. You can also include a cooking demonstration. This will highlight the preparation and cooking techniques of this food tradition or this culinary practice. You could include step by step instructions and explanations of key ingredients of methods. This could be kind of an overview. This can be done very practically where you're showing somebody how to make this, or this could be done where you're just giving somebody little bitty snippets into a secret family recipe without, breaking, your grandma or grandpa's heart by giving away the recipe that they have held securely for so many generations. How you choose to interpret this is really up to you. You can also focus on its cultural significance. Why is this food or practice significant in this particular culture? How is it celebrated? How is it practiced? What is its role in cultural identity and heritage? And then the last suggestion I have up here is a conclusion. Here's where you're going to summarize the key points of your documentary, or maybe reflect on the importance of preserving and celebrating food traditions and culinary practice. I do want you to end with some sort of closing statement that really reinforces whatever message you're trying to share with your documentary. And like I said, these are all elements that you can pick and choose from, that you can make your own. It's really going to depend on which culinary practice or food tradition you pick to explore. Select the elements that make the most sense for what you are sharing with us. So let's talk about some requirements for your documentary. I want to see an engaging narrative. This is where you tell us a story that's both informative and engaging. Use a combination of visuals and narration and interviews to create a cohesive narrative. Try to do your very best with visual and audio quality. I've seen great things that students have created where they have used only their phone, but all 7 of our libraries do have equipment that you can check out to use for this project. They have video equipment, they have sound equipment, all of that. So feel free to get as technical as you would like to with this project. The last thing that I'm going to ask you to do is make sure that you're practicing cultural sensitivity, be respectful and accurate in your portrayal of the food tradition, excuse me, or culinary practice, and ensure that your documentary reflects the cultural significance and context of the topic. It does not have to be a food practice or tradition from your own culture. I'm just going to ask that you make sure that you do treat the topic of your documentary with cultural sensitivity. So when you submit it, you are going to submit your documentary by uploading it to a video sharing platform, something like YouTube, and then providing the link. And I do have instructions on how to do this in eCampus. So let's talk about some topics that you might want to write about. These are just topics to consider. You do not have to pick one of these. You are free to pick a topic that works for you. Maybe you want to look at traditional dishes like sushi in Japan, tamales in Mexico, or even something like pasta in Italy. You can look at food rituals like dumplings for the Chinese New Year, the use of rice in Indian weddings. You can look at culinary techniques like how do you make kimchi, which is a fermented cabbage dish. Or how is bread made in various cultures? How are spices used? You can look at cultural food festivals, things like Diwali in India, Thanksgiving in the United States, or even the Mid Autumn Festival in China. When I evaluate this, this is the criteria that I'm going to be using to evaluate your piece. And of course, you can find all of this on the rubric that is attached to the assignment instructions in eCampus. If you have any questions about this project, just reach out. I am always happy to brainstorm with you, help you out, answer questions, do anything that I can to help you make your project successful.